Hi, my name is Larry, and I am no way a professional production or camera guy, so I'm going to do the best I can. I bought the Ruger LCP 380 about a month ago. My first 50 rounds of Remington shells that I shot through it, it failed to extract approximately 5 times, which is 10%. I tried another brand, the Winchester, and it got even worse. I had about 10 rounds that failed to eject. Anyway, the point is, after about 300 rounds of firing through it, cleaning it, oiling it, firing through it again, it got to where it wasn't extracting any. I mean, it just jammed every time. So I called Ruger and they sent me a brand new extractor. I don't know if you can see that right there. It's right there. So I put the new one in and had exactly the same results. Now, what I'm going to show you is what I did after thoroughly thinking why this thing wasn't extracting and what I could do myself to stop it. And that's what I'm going to show you, and I hope this works for you. Now, I realize that I do have a lot of tools. I've got a shop, and some of these tools you may not have, but I will do my best to show you what you can do. Okay, here are the few of the things that you will need to do in order to possibly fix the problem. As you can see, this is the extractor. What we're going to do is we're going to remove that. Now, it's not that hard to remove this. All you have to do is push the barrel back just a little bit, get a small screwdriver, pop your pin, lay the pin aside, and pull it out. Now, the tools you're going to need for this will be a small finish nail or a small punch, a small file. You will also need 1,500 grit sandpaper or 1,000 grit. I wouldn't use any much less than that. I used a 1/4 inch dial stick and took some of this sandpaper and actually wrapped it around it and then taped it. And the reason I did that was to clean the barrel. Now I'm going to show you how to, let's put this up here, how to remove the extractor. First thing you want to remove is the pin, the spring that holds the barrel in. Let's set that up here. Then you want to remove the barrel. Now this is the extractor right here. If you can see that. That's it right there. It's got that little edge is what catches the edge of the shell when it's inside the gun. And it needs to be really tight. I hope you can see that. On mine, new one, it was not tight at all. The bullet was actually it had space between here and there, and the bullet was able to move, but now it can't. It's really tight. And the way that I solved that problem was you'll need a screwdriver, and I used a pop rivet and just, or a finish nail, anything. Push the spring back on the ejector. It's not easy, but you got to push it back and put the pin inside this hole and tilt the pin this way. Now what I have is a magnet, and I use a magnet to just more or less lift that out once I get the spring off of it. Now the pin's still in there, so it's holding the spring back. This is the extractor. This is the part that catches the shell. Now what I did, I knew that I wanted it to go closer and tighter. So I took a small file and I filed here, and I also filed around this. I didn't file any off of this. I just wanted this to seat. I wanted this to seat further down. Put your finger right here and you can pull the pin out. That way you won't lose. This thing may pop out. Now the other thing that I did was I noticed that it had a small gouge right here in the extractor, but it was very shallow. So I made it a little deeper so that this all fit in there a little bit better, similar to that. And you can see where I've kind of filed it. I made it where it fit better. Then I took the spring and I actually took a pair of pliers and I pulled on it and I stretched this spring about 1/8 of an inch longer. I wanted it stronger. Now on mine, if you notice, the spring has it's kind of bent when I put this in it. So I just made sure that the bent part, yours may not have it, but if it does, make sure the bent part is on the bottom and the hole is on the top. That way, when you put this back in here, the hole's on the top, the bent part is actually going down. Push this up. I usually try to align the two holes there, and then I push it in with a screwdriver, put my pin back in, then I drop this back in. Once I get this back in place, I pull the pin out. Now that's what holds the extractor in. Before I did that, before I stretched the spring, this right here would move back and forth really easy. Now it's a lot tougher. It's got a lot more pressure against it. The other thing I did, took a 1/4 inch dowel, like I said, wrapped it with 1500 grit sandpaper, and I went in here. Now there is a ridge down here that actually catches the edge of this, so that the bullet stops right there. So I didn't go any deeper than that. And in other words, I didn't go any deeper than that. But I went in here and I just smoothed it out. You know, just smoothed it out real good. I went a little bit deeper than that. And then this is the loading ramp where the bullet comes up and goes in, just right there. So I smoothed that out and smoothed the edges. Then I put the barrel back in. That's all I did. And now, this is I believe this one is called, let me see. This shell is called Blazer Brass. I did notice that these hollow points do have a little deeper ridge for the extractor to catch than the brass and some of the other ammo. But to give you an idea, mine extracts every time. I've shot 100 shells through it and it has never missed once. And in fact, it extracts them even further. Before they were coming out and going about 3 feet. Now they go almost completely across the room. And it's all because this extractor, the way it's made, let me drop a bullet in here. The way that it is made is it has to grab the edge and get in that groove. And it has to stay there all the way back. Similar to that. You can see it. All the way back. And it has to be tight against it. I think the force of the explosion when the spring is weak was actually, I think what it was doing, in my case, and I think a lot of cases, being that this spring was really weak, and I filed it so that when I filed the back of this extractor, it let it come this way a little more. And I tightened, stretched the string and made it tighter, because I think the explosion from the gun was actually blowing this spring back. It was actually blowing it back and off of the rim. That's what I believe. Anyway, you can, I hope this video helps, and that I do realize, you will need a small file, screwdriver, pliers, maybe a brush for cleaning, oiling, but that's it. And I hope that solves your problem.